Okay, and welcome. We are live. It is the Wylders game, and this is our 30th live episode. Dun, dun, dun. Now, the truth is we've been playing for 3 years. It's our third year anniversary in this campaign. We've been playing D&D longer than that, but this particular campaign in Aerra, this campaign is called The Bounty of St. Iago. And this campaign we've been playing now for going just now into our third year. I want to, before we start playing tonight, as far as running the game, we're going to do a quick intro, just because I think that's good at always warming us up and helping people remember who they are, because we have that problem in real life. So this will help us know who we are, and then I'm going to talk real quick about some miniatures before we actually go into the game where we left off last week. So here we go. Here's Mr. Thaddeus. Hello, sir.
Hello, my name is Ian Little, and I am playing the role of Dr. Thaddeus Poindexter.
Dr. Thaddeus Poindexter. What do you do, Mr. Poindexter? What are your hobbies? Besides doctoring, anything else you're interested in?
Well, one does what one has to do when you're in the wild.
Really?
You know, and when you're being attacked, you have to defend yourself, of course. And my medical training has taught me well for using blades usefully.
And do you carry a deck of playing cards?
Merely for entertainment purposes.
What about a set of dice?
Once again, sir, you are confusing me with my cousin, Beauregard Abernathy.
Oh, so you don't carry any dice. Oh, I'm sorry. What about some lock picks? Wouldn't have any of those on your body, would you, right now?
Well, occasionally one is in a position where one needs to...
I mean, there might be a dying patient behind that locked door, right?
Precisely.
Yeah, I think we all figured that one out. Let's move along to Ms. Josephine Smith. Hello, ma'am.
I am Josephine Smith. I am played by Amanda. I am a bit of a smartass and a little bit of a sassy pants, and I'm a wicked ass sharpshooter. Pew pew. And my companion is a 6 foot tall direwolf named Bear, who is the bestest doggy in the entire world.
Who's a good boy?
He's a good boy.
Very good boy.
Yes, indeed. How about you, Lavinia? How are you doing tonight?
I'm doing mighty fine there, sir. My name is Lavinia Rose. I am a healer. I am also sometimes a fortune teller, and sometimes I help wipe out undead.
And sometimes you help wipe out undead. Death Realm Cleric. Okay, and here we go. Hello, Mr. Percy Redfeather. How are you?
Percy Redfeather, feeling much better this week, and I have been known to turn into a giant tiger when stressed out. So it's amazing I didn't, but I have no idea what happened last week. I'm about to be updated on it. It's going to be fun.
We're going to fix your camera a little bit because I remounted all the cameras, but Rob's didn't get fixed.
And I am a bit of a sharpshooter as well, but I usually use bow and arrow.
No,
and
keep going. Is it not that camera?
What do you got? You're turning away from me, I think, aren't you?
You know what? It's not using that camera. It's using the other one. And I don't know why that's giving me some stress.
Weird.
Okay, I will fix it, but we will make do with it today because it's actually the Live 360 camera. It's the same camera as this.
Oh, okay.
See, it's exactly the same angle. So we've always got the 360 as a backup to each of our cameras, Percy camera, Raven camera, so on and so forth. And for some reason, Percy camera is shut down right now, which is why that's happening.
We'll fix that.
Let's go on to Mr. Raven. Hello, Raven Alexium.
Good day. I'm Glenn. I play Raven Alexium. I am a squishy wizard, and I'm also an alchemist, and I have a familiar raven whose name is Drema.
We're going to square you up. Sit straight. Sit straight. No.
A little bit more.
A little more. Okay. We're going to get you done. That looks better. There we go. I know for a fact that camera was set the right way last time, and then a large orange and white furred behemoth came into the Aerra world and pushed it around because that's our cat Larry, who likes to move
Orange
the
dragon.
cameras.
And purred while he did it.
And yes, and purred while he did it. Okay, good. And I am Dave Wildson. The game that we are playing is a D&D style game.
You missed.
No.
No, I didn't miss anybody. I got them all this time, right?
Okay. I was
Anybody feel missed? We're all good? Okay, nobody feels missed.
You were thinking about something.
So I'm the game master. And now that's game master, not gay master. I'm the game master. And I am playing a homebrew game right now. This is what we run. This is the game in the world of Aerra, which is a world, fantasy world that I have created. And these intrepid crew are the outlaws, known as the Wylders, because off-worlders who end up coming to this world of Aerra in our game are referred to as Wylders. For the fact that they have they tend to have more magical ability than home occupants of this world, and they are a little problematic as far as controlling it. And there's a lot of wild magic that happens, and it can cause real problems. Before we go into the game, I want to talk to you guys, follow up on last week. Remember, we talked very briefly about minis. And I said that we had a new plan for minis. Well, here it is, lo and behold, which is French for high and behind. We have the mini vault. This is going to be our new mini vault. And why is there a dog thing on top of this? Are these your things? Oh, okay. There we go.
No table.
This is going to be our new rack for keeping all our minis in, because it's got trays that are excellent for holding them all. And you can see what I've done is I've put a sheet in the bottom of this one, and it has got one mini with a little magnet on it. So these sheets here impregnated with ferrous material so that it will hold on. And this is how we're going to be sorting all the minis in the future. This will be the new miniatures vault, and have labels as I sort all of our minis into monsters and NPCs and companions and all of the other categories of stuff that we need to grab on the fly when we're doing some impromptu role play. But the problem is that those bases, as I said last time, and I don't think I can get a very good view on this, a lot of the bases will have this little rim around them, or they'll have lettering on them. And you see, that's the problem. If they've got that little rim on them or they've got lettering on them, then all of a sudden that interrupts the little sticky magnets that I have adhering to them. I've got peel and stick magnets for these that are the right size, round ones. So I have for you guys each a cardboard box to take home that's going to have 3 different grits of sandpaper just sitting in the bottom, so you can use a cardboard box or whatever you want. And it's just going to have 2-3 dozen minis in it, maybe more, that if you could please just sand those bases flat. See, there's another one, just needs a little bit. Some need more, some need less, which is why I've got, some need almost none at all. But that's why I've got them in there, because if I don't get you guys help to do this, we're never going to get this done. That's enough about minis, but yes, I'm proud of my new mini vault. I think it's pretty good.
Cool.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you.
Want me to carry it elsewhere so we get the table usage?
If we could,
Oh,
well, you know
I
what?
can make do of it for now.
We will just do this. I shall pick this up. Glenn, take the table. And I will put this down here. I'm going to have it on some kind of wheeled affair eventually anyways. But yeah, so that's going to be our plan for minis, okay? So that when we're doing minis on the fly, I'll be able to access them a lot faster and grab them and put them on our
I
table.
love that it's mesh and see-through, and you can like see them at a glance.
Yeah, and I also bought some labels that I'm going to be attaching to the fronts, some little plastic label holders that we'll be putting names on, so that I can sort them by category. And that way, when I want to find, because this has happened, I want to find the dwarves. Okay, we've come into an encounter where you remember when you were fighting the Dwergard dwarves?
Yeah.
So I went looking for and I couldn't find any of them. I couldn't find them. I could find monsters, I could find bugs, I could find oxen and cattle, but I couldn't find dwarves for like a day. So that's why I'm going to get this sorted so I can grab them on the fly and put them on the table.
Excellent.
Dave, before we move on, can you just check the chat, please?
And why don't we do that? We will check the chat. Depink Captain says you can buy bases that you can glue the minis down and the new base will give you room underneath for magnets. Yeah, I'm aware. The problem that I've got, Silva, is that we have got hundreds of minis that already have the base glued on, and I don't want to risk breaking their feet or trying to cut them off the base that they've already got. So this is my next best solution, which reminds me of something that I should warn you about. If you're trying to sand, where did I just put those two minis that I had? All right, let's say that we've got this one. This one wouldn't be too bad, but some of them, when you guys are trying to sand them, you've got to be kind of careful about breaking them off of the base.
Yeah.
So try and get your fingers a little bit around them just to do this, and just do light sanding. If it's going to catch too much, just go with real light pressure so that it just takes it off, because even this little one right here has got a little bit of a rim on it. But all of my minis, and we have got probably thousands now, Silva, all of them have got maybe 10 different types of bases on them over the years that we've glued onto them, which is why this is my solution to flatten these ones. And I bought some new ones that are flat.
And I usually just stick some 400 grit sandpaper onto a piece of glass and use that to sand them down.
Yeah, and Silva says, don't cut the base off, just glue the base down on top of the blank base, which I could do, but I want to try this first and see if this works out for us. As long as they're easy to do. If I get ones that have got a really deep ridge, skip them, okay? And just go with the ones that only need like 4 or 5 passes, and they're good to go, and then they'll stick on.
Thanks, Silva, for sharing that idea.
He's a pro at this because he makes his own minis. Well, he paints his own minis. Speaking of minis, maybe there's one thing that we should talk about, and that is that Ian is continuing to paint minis for us. He's got 2 or 3 boxes of just miscellaneous minis that I've given him that we kind of plan to use in the next 6 months somewhere, somehow. I got to show you a couple of these. Oh my God, they're beautiful. So check out this monster right here. Look at that bad boy.
Wow.
Like a carrion crawler.
Look at him. Look how scary he is. So this is in fact a mini that Rob made, 3D printed for us. Thank you very much,
Can you pop
Rob.
it on the
Scale.
back screen too?
No, I can't. Not from this camera. I can't.
Okay.
Yeah, they'll give you a little scale on this big monster here. But we'll pass it around so everybody can see. Oh, I don't have focus anymore.
Yeah,
There,
one
put
at
my
a
hand
time.
in front. There we go.
There we go.
I learned this. Put your hand in front. There. So pretty badass. Scary looking.
Awesome.
So here, I'll pass this one around. He looks great, and look at the shine that Ian put on his carapace.
Oh, he's great.
Is that you? Is this you?
That was
Yeah,
Ian that
nice.
was there. Here's another one. This is one of the Uncta Serpent people. If you're playing D&D, this is one of the. I think it's Young T. I think is that
Up a
the-
little. There you
Yeah,
go.
there we go.
Oh, there we go.
There we go. Oh, back a little bit.
Look at the lovely copper details. That's cool.
Yeah. So again, Ian's beautiful painting artwork on these guys, making them look amazing. So thank you very much. Here, I'll pass
I
this
love
guy
how you've
around
done
too.
the highlights on this.
And
Looking forward to that.
we did forget to say hi to Depink Captain, my brother from another mother. Hi.
Hello.
And hi to Pete
Yep.
from YouTube.
Funny.
And it is you,
Hey,
Pete.
Pete. Pete's on YouTube. Thank you very much for coming to see us, Pete. All right. Let us go on now with the game.
Yay.
Here's what happened last time in the game. At the very end of our last session, you were escaping as the riverboat, the treasure riverboat of the Soldiering Dead was going down. It was sinking. The last time you saw it, the deck was at about a 45-degree angle. The rear of the ship, the stern of the ship, was literally slipping beneath the waves. And the soldiering dead that you could see in the darkness still just a little bit were not panicking. They were methodically stepping off of the ship into the water without panicking. So you don't know what that's going to mean, but where are you? Let's do positions. I know that Josephine and Lavinia, you guys are still in the basket. Is that right?
Yes.
Yes.
And that basket.
What is the comment that's on top of the screen here?
Oh, it's like, hey, are you still there? Here, I'll shut it off a sec. Which one says, yes, I'm here? Is it this button here that says, yes, I'm here? Okay, good. All right. It's just an inactive dialogue question. Okay, so as I was saying, you guys are in the basket, right? Mm-hmm. And I believe you were 55, so let's say you're 60, 75 feet up. You are currently probably another 50 feet up to the ship. Mm-hmm. That's still where you guys are because you had signaled by pulling on the rope for the basket to be brought back up to the ship, correct? Raven, where are you? Do you remember?
I'm just about to hit the shore, being pulled by my summoned alligator.
Right, that's right. You summoned a crocodile, and it's pulling you along. So Rob was away last week, so to catch him up on where he is, Rob dove to the bottom and has been walking along the bottom of the river bed and is about 100 yards, 100 feet, something like that behind Raven.
Okay, so 100 yards is 300 feet.
It's 100 feet.
It's 100 feet. So you're 100 feet
100
behind
feet.
Raven.
Okay.
And you have been walking along the bottom of the riverbed, and you've been making good time doing that. You saw where he was headed for shore, and you were making for the same place. You do not know where Percy is because you lost, not Percy, where Thaddeus is. You lost sight of Thaddeus, so you don't know where he is. Neither does Raven. The girls will have lost sight of him too, as he was in the water and he was below the surface.
I was right near the bottom.
Right near the bottom. That's right. Okay. So, and Thaddeus, you are near the shore, but you are further north than everybody else. Is that correct?
Yes. Percy and Raven went sort of diagonally southeast. And
Yes.
I went straight north.
That's right. You went straight north, and then you turned and you cut
And
over.
Once I was far enough away, I started going towards the right-hand bank.
Okay, and that's exactly where we cut it off last time. You were all out of combat. We had just dropped combat. You had taken out all of the guards that had been on the top deck, but that is whoever was on the middle deck, both inside the cabin and outside along the railing. There was an estimate of, let me see, I'll count them, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. You're looking at roughly a dozen to 13 soldiering undead that you know are still alive for sure.
Well,
And
they're
are
not
apparently
alive.
okay. They're still animated, and they are apparently methodically abandoning ship as the ship goes down. Although you never know, maybe some of them are staying with it. They don't have to worry about the water as far as breathing goes, like a living being does.
Is that really a concern of ours, though? Like, we have an escape plan, so they're just gonna go, like,
Yes.
they'll just, like, amble, right? They can't swim, they can't fly, they can't.
Can the undead swim? I'm going to say, yeah, that they could swim no problem
Well, wouldn't they be like
if they
zombie speed?
wanted to. But they are definitely going to be slower than you as far as movement goes, for sure.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right. But these are soldiering dead, and they don't just shamble the way one of the shambling Walking Dead do. These guys will actually still move at a slightly slower than March speed. So whereas you make 25 feet in a turn, right? Well, these guys will make something like 20. So you can outmove them, but not by much.
Okay.
All right. Well, is that showing?
How
what?
far up is the ship from the water at this point?
You are currently 200 feet. I'm going to say 150 feet above the ship in the water.
So ship's here, we're here, water's down here.
That's right. But you're only now like 20 or 30 feet. You're constantly being pulled upwards.
Yeah.
So you're only like 20 or 30 feet from the bottom of the ship now.
So I guess what I'm trying to figure out is once I've reached the ship, what is my range of being able to
150 feet.
okay,
If you're going to try and aim straight down and do something.
thank you.
And I mean, I'm just making this shit up, I'm guessing. So, that's what we're going to go with. That's why it's called role play. So now that you're out of combat, you guys can decide what you want to do. We're just kind of going to go around the table clockwise, starting with Thaddeus. And you can tell me what you are doing next. And you're not limited to your turns. You're just limited to what you're going to do in the next 2, 3, 4, 5 minutes as a character. Go ahead, Thaddeus. What do you think?
When I get to the shore, I'm going to be very careful watching, and I have Raven's night vision goggles, and I'm listening for any wildlife or movement, things like that, before I actually come out of the water.
Okay. As you come out of the water, you find the shore pretty much deserted. It is night. The moon is starting to go down. Which direction does the moon set? Anybody know?
It's in the west.
Moon sets in the west and rises in the east, just like the sun?
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay. All right. It's only been 63 years and I don't know that.
Yeah.
So,
It's tidally locked.
fine.
We just don't know how it moves here.
So the moon is going to be waning in about an hour. Oh, that's right. How does it move it moves the same way in Aerra, so
I
you're
have
okay.
my suspicions that it would move the same. Otherwise,
Yes,
things
it
would be
does.
really squirrely.
Yeah. Okay, so let's move on. Josephine, what about
Things are
you?
Squirrely already. Hi. So I am in the basket with Lavinia. I'm assuming that we are just going to get up there and with our lovely guides and helpers make our way towards the shore so we can retrieve these guys.
Yeah, so as you and Lavinia are waiting to be pulled up over the next 5 minutes, the ship eventually, you come up along the hull of the ship. You're on the side where the rope has been hanging down, and as you watch, you rise up above the hull, and the Anu giant sailors that are on the ship, they strong arm the whole basket over because they're so much bigger than you, and you're a pretty light package for them to pull up over the railing of the ship. They do this, and they set the basket on the deck just beside the railing. And a couple of them comment to each other that they're a little bit surprised that there aren't as many of you as went down, because they're not all aware of exactly what your mission or your plan is. But Marduk is there, and he smiles at you, and he begins talking to you. And I don't think either of you can understand him. Can you? Neither one of you has a way to speak Anua. So you look at him and you nod your head, not knowing what's going on, and he realizes he can't communicate with you that way. So is there any kind of gestures or directions you want to give him?
We ask, is there a way we can get him to draw something for us?
I ask for.
So what he does is he points at the two of you, and he points at the two of you with his fingers like this, points at the ship, then he says 3, signifying the other 3, and asks where. So you
and we show that they're swimming.
you show that they are swimming,
And we point
right?
out to,
and you point down to the shore.
yeah.
Okay, all right.
in the direction that we saw them go.
All right. So he looks down where you point in the shore, looks up at you understanding, nods, and he goes like this, as in the ship is going to circle.
Yep.
All right. And all of a sudden calls out a couple of commands quietly to the other sailors underneath him to start bringing the ship around back to the shoreline behind where you are right now. Okay, Percy, what are you doing?
I thought Lavinia was next.
Oh, sorry,
We kind of shared
Lavinia.
a
I
turn.
kind of
We
she
just
was
shared
with
it. We
her.
just shared a turn.
Okay.
We're
Since they're both
good.
in the,
They're both in the basket. We've done the basket.
Okay,
What
I'm
about
following
you?
Thaddeus, and I'm going to try and get to the shore. And once I get to the shore, I'm going to get out, arm myself with my bow and arrow, and keep a careful watch out.
You
for
can't be following Thaddeus because you didn't
You
see
mean
which
you mean Raven?
direction I went.
Oh, is Raven the head?
You're
Yeah,
following
yeah,
Raven.
Raven.
You're not following.
Oh, I thought I was following Thaddeus.
No,
Thaddeus,
you're following Radium.
you know,
I might have
it's
given
called
you the
the
wrong
dolphin.
name because we're always confusing our character names.
Okay.
But
I'm going to follow Raven, and when Raven gets out of the river, I'll get out of the river. I will guard him against any oncoming dead.
Because I'm squishy.
'Cause he's squishy.
He's squishy.
So I'm going to guard him and protect him from any oncomers.
okay, and Raven, you reach the shoreline first, and you're there, and you were waiting. You have your crocodile still, and your summons last 10 minutes, right?
They last 1 minute.
1 minute? Okay, I'm going to say he's gone now.
Yep.
And you make it to the shoreline, and you are standing there. Anything you want to do right now? Things that you need to get ready or done?
I am going to, because I don't think anybody knows where I am and can't see me, so I'm going to cast a straight up fire bolt, just so I make a flare, basically. So
Okay.
my associates can find me in the dark. So it's a. Actually, I don't have it prepared, so I can't do that. So
How about a produce fire?
I don't have it prepared.
How about you build a fire?
I'll just light a torch.
Okay, so you light a torch
Yes,
on the shore.
that's right.
Where was this torch?
In my inventory.
It was in your inventory. So isn't your torch wet right now?
Doesn't he have a personal bag of holding?
I do have a.
He
personal
does
bag
have a
of holding.
personal bag of holding. And we're okay. We'll just say yes. Your torch was in the personal bag of holding, so it is not wet.
Of course,
So
he would have
yes,
thought ahead to
you're
put everything.
able to
Sure.
light your torch.
Let's go with that.
Retcon that.
All right, you're holding a torch now. What do you want to do with your torch? Are you going to like wave it, just hold it in the air, make a little campfire with it? What do you want to do?
I am going to plant the torch in the sand and then step back and hide in the shadows in case something comes for the torch.
Good
Okay.
plan.
All right. Okay. As you leave the torch burning like that, Marduk on the ship clearly, as one of his sailors, sights the light of the torch that's about 300 feet behind where the ship is right now as it's beginning to do a circle. It's going to be a pretty wide circle for the ship because obviously it's a big sky galleon. It's going to take that ship like 15 minutes to come around, 15 to 20 minutes to be able to come around at least for it to be able to come back to that position. But they know what the position is because it's marked by the torch. You got a question,
I
Percy?
have a question. The status of the actual treasure ship, is it sunk?
Yes.
So by the time Percy emerges from the water, all that is left of the treasure ship, the riverboat, above the water line in the center, in the moonlight, you can see a little bit of silhouette of the bow of the ship, the front of the ship, as it's going to completely submerge 100% in about 2 minutes.
Because the
And be
river
gone.
is still moving, so it might go a little further down the river before we can.
Well, it's trying to go upriver,
Oh, okay.
and the river current is pushing against
Pushing
it.
against,
So
it's
the
coming back.
current has been pushing it backwards as it sinks.
Okay.
The very reason I went forward.
Exactly. Okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
So as that happens, as it is slowly sinking and slowly moving backwards while it does so, it's almost parallel 90 degrees with where Raven is positioned because both Raven and you had angled back and to the east,
And he
basically on a southeast, where he went on
Right.
a northeast tangent. You went on a southeast tangent.
Okay.
And so that's why, because the ship, just as it's sinking below the waves, it's almost even parallel with where Raven has his torch.
Okay.
All right. Other questions? Other things you want to know?
How close is the ship to Thaddeus then, if the ship was like ahead of the boat?
As Thaddeus has continued to go north and to the northeast, and the ship has stopped and then slowly drifted backwards with the current, Thaddeus ends up, he doesn't know how far he is, but as he gets to the shoreline, he can see far to the south of him, probably about 300 feet, maybe 400 feet.
Yeah.
He sees a light on the shoreline, but he doesn't know what that light is.
Okay, I was talking about the airship. Like, can he see
Oh.
the airship? Like, how close is he to it?
I'm going to say that there has been enough sun enough moonlight that if you're looking upwards, you could still easily see the silhouette of the airship against the moonlight sky and the stars above.
Yeah, especially before I go into
That
the
would make
forest or
such a
anything.
cool image.
Yeah, it really would. I was hoping before I go ashore that I'd look up and see where the ship was. And if it starts moving, I'm going to have to attract their attention at some point.
Come here, mouse. There we go. Okay. Okay. Last thing that happened was that Raven lit a torch. Thaddeus, are you going to, you see a light south of you on the shoreline. Are you going to move towards it? What do you want to do?
Not directly, but I figure it's most likely to be either Percy or Raven. But I can see the ship also, and if they're going to do a slow turn, they're coming towards me.
That's right.
Yeah.
They're slowly starting to move towards you. They're almost going to come overhead of you
Yeah.
as they continue their wide circle.
Yeah.
That
So
was
I'm.
more of my question. Like, how close was?
Yeah. Though for you guys, for Josephine and Lavinia looking over the shore, over the edge of the railing of the ship, it's just a black morass, or black mass of vegetation below you. But moonlight is reflecting off of the river itself, which is why it was so easy to find for the Anua Giants to find the riverboat on the river while it was so dark, was because moonlight is reflecting up from the river, and you could clearly see it as a black silhouette sitting in the middle of the river moving northward. So now that has disappeared, as you look down, you just see the ribbon heading north and south of the Pikatanu River.
Can they
You
see the
guys are
torch?
waiting. What's that?
Can they see the torch?
Anybody that's on the ship would be able to see the torch. It's only 300 feet away. For sure you would see it, and it would very much stand out right on the shoreline. I think it's reasonable to assume that you would know exactly where, or guess pretty much, because you would have seen Raven and Percy dive off the ship to the back. It'd be pretty reasonable for you to assume that light from that torch is one of them.
Can the undead see the torch?
Yes.
Yeah.
There's
obviously.
the big question. Can the undead see the torch? You don't have any information about where they are or what they are doing right now. When Raven lit the torch, there still was a little bit of the riverboat above the waterline, but you didn't see any shapes on it, so you do not know.
Well,
How-
I wonder if I'm assuming that the zombies would sink because they don't have fatty tissue, or so I would suggest. And if they sink, depending on the shape of the curvature of the river, would they be able to climb out? Because we just swim upwards and climb out on the bank. But if the banks are a box, like vertical, sheer vertical, they would not be able to climb out unless they had, the capability of being climbing zombies or something. I don't know.
Yeah. So
Just asking that
They were
question.
So-
saying they can swim.
the shape of the shape of the river bottom
Yeah.
is not a box. It's slowly.
Okay.
It's more like, and not even a bowl. It's more very much like a V shape.
A V shape. Okay.
All right. So they will be just as you've discovered as you've been slowly walking uphill on the river bottom to head towards the shore.
Okay.
Same thing for them.
All right. So we can anticipate that they will escape the river and come for us.
Yep.
So we will have to defend ourselves, I
Yeah,
think,
and-
or escape.
And you
as
guys
quickly as
gave
we
them a
can.
back beacon saying,
Yeah.
"Oh, we're here."
We have to do something.
I know,
Otherwise,
I know.
the Anua won't find us.
That's right.
It's
So
a
it becomes a race against the time
Yeah.
of whether or not you're going to be found by any of the emerging soldiering dead who emerge from the river basin. You don't even know if they're going to emerge on the east side or the west side, though.
Right.
Right. The other thing is, will that happen before the ship gets to you and drops the basket for you?
Okay.
But there's no way the ship is going to be able to find you unless you do have some type of signal. So having the torch there is the only way it's going to be able to. Oh, is that for me to remember a timer?
Not only a timer, but I'm trying to catch the moonlight or the flames. from the
Oh,
ship
you could
and
single
signal
one
the
with the
ship.
reflection.
Hey, look at this. Thaddeus has got his, is it a compass?
It's a compass. It
pretty
happens to be
cool.
the compass that used to belong to my deceased uncle.
Mm.
Here, let's have a look. I want to show it to the camera because is it okay for me to
Yeah,
hold
of
it?
course.
Check this out. Look at that.
Need to switch the camera so that it's showing.
Oh yeah,
you.
I need to switch to me. Sorry about that. So here's Dave. Here is, I guess in this case it's Thaddeus's compass right now in the
Yeah.
game. Here is the compass that used to belong.
And I don't put it at an angle so they can see it's also got a sundial.
It's got a sundial on it. Like that, and that folds over, I assume.
So it could be used to
Pretty
ascertain
cool.
time.
Brass base. It's got some weight to it. It's very nice. Does it have a cover too that goes on it?
Yep.
So there's a
Nice.
a little brass cover that goes on it like that. Pretty cool.
That's pretty good.
All right, so you're using that to try and signal the airship. All right, using moonlight to flash at the airship
or the fire from the ship, from the burning ship.
or the fire from the burning ship. I'm going to say those light sources are not strong enough for you to be able to successfully signal.
Don't
That's
you
what I
have
thought.
a dandy mirror?
I think I traded it with at the last because it used to be on my inventory and it's not now.
Oh,
And I
okay.
seem to recall trading it for something
And you wouldn't have carried it with
for
you. anyways.
what's his nose?
What is his nose? Monty?
Not Monty, the most recent guy.
The troll?
Quilius Quacksilver?
Yes, Quacksalver.
Quilius Quacksalver?
Yeah, I think he took the. Or was it the troll on the bridge?
Was it the troll on the bridge? Maybe.
Yeah, I think I traded.
We had to give him
Yeah.
something.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Well, it turns out that because it's dark, no amount of light is present for you to be able to successfully make a signal mirror work.
Okay.
It would have to be a non-cloudy day before you would have any success. Even cloud would dissipate the sunlight so much that you wouldn't even be able to use a signal mirror.
Fair enough.
In that case. And why would I know this? Well, I would know this because I used to be Joe Survival. I used to be working towards being an outdoor guide in the real world. And I've used signal mirrors. And I know how hard it is. And so, yeah.
Fair enough.
All right.
Yeah.
Shall we continue on and find out? That's what Thaddeus is doing. Thaddeus, are you going to do any movement?
Well, I can if I can see that the signal light is not working, I'm gonna have to find some way of signaling, and I'm gonna have to work quickly. So I'm gonna have to go up onto the shore, and into presumably a forest.
Yeah, there's a lot of scrub brush. The trees don't come right down to the bank.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of bush.
Okay.
Okay, and it's probably about chest high.
Would there be any driftwood or anything? Is there a riverbank?
There are bits of all kinds of stuff. There's bits of driftwood. There's a lot of mud along the river bank. There are a lot of reeds. There aren't any trees that are overgrowing the river per se. It's all, like I say, chest high bush, and then you can see in the darkness behind that that probably about 50 feet back from the river, from the very muddy riverbank, is where the bigger trees are starting to grow.
Okay, so if I can get some dried grasses and stuff like that, I can light that.
So you're going to stay put where you are then?
Yeah, I've at least until I see the ship go past.
Okay.
While the ship is still heading towards me, I'm going to try and light
Okay.
something. I mean, I've got a lantern too, but I'm not going to assume that it's dry.
All right.
So I'm going to use the grasses and stuff.
Josephine and Lavinia are on the ship. Is there anything you guys want to do on the
Yeah,
ship while you're waiting to circle back?
Are we close enough that I can actually see him light what he's lighting?
No, you do not see anything from Thaddeus. You do clearly see the torch burning on the shoreline where Raven has lit one.
I would like to call Bear over. Bear, missed you.
Yes, Bear is happily waiting for you as you
Serious cuddles and
as you get back up on the ship. Bear has also befriended a few of the Anua sailors because they're quite impressed with Bear, because to them, he's like just a medium-sized dog.
Yep.
They're used to all dogs being very small. This one's quite big, so whenever he passes by, he gets a pet and a scratch
To
from
them,
any
he'd
of
be
them.
like Luna's size. Yeah.
yeah.
Yes, exactly. All right. So yeah, the new sailors are very businesslike, but they consider him the ship's mascot now.
Okay, what I would like to do is because I did see, obviously we saw what direction Thaddeus swam off in. So I am going to pull out my spyglass, and I have my half elf vision as well. So I'm assuming I've got night vision, and I've got a spyglass. So I'm going to search the shoreline.
Okay, I'm going to say roll for perception. Use a d20, give me a perception. I think you got what, a plus 11, plus 12 on your perception?
Good question. I don't know why I don't have my character sheet up. It's
Roll your die, and I mean, if it's a 4 or 5, you're not going to make it. But if it's higher than a 10, you're going to have enough to be able to spot him. I'm going to say in the moonlight.
perception is a 13.
Well, there you go, 13. All right, and
I
you
rolled a 3.
a 3. So you rolled a total of 16. You are currently searching, but you have not spotted him yet.
It is very dark.
And so I also have dark vision at this point. So can I try your...
Absolutely, you may.
So I take her thing and I try and...
Her spyglass, so you want to roll too? Go ahead.
I sure do.
What's your perception bonus, by the way?
Plus 12.
There you go. It bounced out of the cup.
All right, there we go. We had one run away on us.
Here, I got it back. Okay.
nice.
19.
19 is enough. If you had rolled anything less than a 19 or 20, you would not have succeeded, because you don't have nearly the vision that she does as half elf. I'm going to see that a 19 succeeds, and you catch a little glint of the flash as Thaddeus is trying to signal.
So is that glint enough? I have a 500-foot range for message.
Yes.
Is that enough of being able to reach out to?
Message requires line of sight, and you now have line of sight. I see no reason why not.
Okay. So, what do we want to tell Thaddeus?
I know metagaming. You can only ask Josephine that question.
Stay where you are.
Mhm.
Stay where you are.
Stay
We
where
see
you are. We see you.
We are on our way.
We are on our way.
We'll lower the basket.
We'll
for you.
lower the basket for you.
And obviously, we have to sign to. What's his name?
Marduk. Marduk is the name of the captain.
We have to sign to Marduk that we see him
Mm-hmm.
and lower the basket. Yes.
Okay, so that That's
I
what
just
want.
want to know what your sign for Thaddeus would be.
Um,
I want to know. Inquiring minds want to.
What's your sign for Thaddeus?
Yeah,
I was
right?
going to say the swimming one.
Okay.
Now I'm
They
going
don't
to say
know.
the
They
glasses.
wouldn't know that though.
Glasses. Okay.
The glasses? Okay.
Okay, well it takes you a little bit to signal to Marduk what you mean, because he doesn't fully understand, but then he eventually gathers that there must be somebody from the three that are missing that is directly below the ship. He makes a rapid order, and the ship actually lurches very suddenly to stop its momentum forward, and it's very slowly drifting now as the sailors prepare to put the basket over. And he looks at you inquiring and gestures to the basket as though, do you want to pile into the basket or not?
I feel like we could just lower it and
Just
raise him
lower it
up.
and bring- Lower it and raise
All right, so you signal to him to just take the basket and lower it.
Yep.
All right, so Marduk gives a command to his sailors quietly, and they begin lowering the basket down. All right.
And how far away is Thaddeus from?
Well, you guys are still 150 feet up, and it is directly over him just about now.
Oh,
Okay.
cool.
I'm going to say while that is happening, Percy, you...
Yes, sec. Can I?
Okay,
message
I'm
back?
stopping what I was saying and going back to Lavinia. Yes.
Thank you. Can I let him know we're right above you? We're.
Oh, I see the ships above you.
All right.
Above
good
me.
enough.
Okay.
All right, you're sending him a message saying that?
Yeah.
Okay,
and
good.
we're not going down, but just come in the baskets. They're ready to grab you. Yeah.
Thanks. I just
Okay.
wanted to finish.
Anything else? Okay. All right. While the basket is being lowered, Percy has emerged at the shoreline, sees the flame, and is approaching it now
Yeah.
with his drawn bow. Anything else you want to do, Percy?
Can I see the torch?
Oh yeah. You see the torch
Okay.
there, and you're. It's only like 20 feet away.
Raven, are you there?
I say, yes, I'm here hiding in the bushes.
Let's go
Go where?
to the basket. I'm sure the ship is here.
I don't see a basket.
Of course we can't see it. It's too dark. I can see it. Goof.
You know that it's like
I have
like
dark
way like
Roll for perception. I'm going to have both of you roll for perception.
Oh.
So Percy
I
rolled
can't
for
see squat. I don't know where the hell it is.
Percy fails to perceive it. Raven
Natural one.
and Raven
How did you do that? I
is
did that.
about
Did you
as
have a
blind
roll?
as you can be.
But like obviously you can see the ship as well as like
Apparently not.
It's not lit.
I know, but it's
There's
like they
enough
said,
moonlight.
there's
You
there's a
could
dark
have,
light in the
if
sky.
you had rolled a high enough perception, which you did not,
We're blind as bad.
perceived the ship, but maybe not the basket to the north of you, up in the air, because you would know to look there. In this case, both of your night vision for both of you has been destroyed by the looking at the torch. So you can't see anything as far as everything that is outside the light of the torch for you, which I'm going to say is 20 feet away, is in darkness and blackness, and you can't see it at all. Okay?
Okay.
Do we have a second for comments?
Yeah, you want to go to some comments?
Yeah, just the pink captain said, okay, first of all, why is the rum gone? And I don't remember
That is a reference to
Why is the
Captain
rum
Jack.
gone?
Okay.
Jack Sparrow.
Yeah, and then he said Josephine pulls out an even bigger spyglass. That didn't happen. That
Yeah,
would've
because
been
that's from as well.
Oh,
That's-
okay. And for the signing of Thaddeus, it should have been
A stabby.
and said
How dare you?
Percy and
Oh.
Oh, there you go.
Percy and Raven find their feet.
Yes. Okay.
And Peter said that the reflection in the door, so this above you, looks like the moon glowing behind.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, for those that maybe cannot see it, I wonder, can we see it in the room video? No, you can't. Directly above the table, we have a very large white globe that is our key light to light everybody's faces so that everybody's well lit for the video.
So if we go to, there we go to Thaddeus. You see that?
And there you can
It
see the
absolutely looks
globe
like a full moon.
as a moon behind Thaddeus's head. That's our main light that we use for our little gaming studio here.
And if
Your
I may,
silvery beams
And if
will
you may,
make us
yes.
if I
friends.
may, I would also like to thank the people for all the wonderful comments about the minis.
Oh, and you're
Yay.
welcome.
Painting, so
You're welcome.
thank you.
Lovely work.
I do appreciate it very much.
Okay. All right. So the basket has been lowered at a pretty quick pace. The ship is almost at a standstill as the basket comes down. Thaddeus is able to see the basket coming down, but because the ship is not completely stationary, as the basket is coming down, it looks like it is going to actually drop into the trees
Okay.
ahead of you 25 feet, maybe even 50 feet.
I'll
No,
sprint.
he can't communicate back to Lavinia, can he?
Yeah, he can.
Yeah, all he has to do is think it as far as
Okay,
the message
I'm not
back.
saying anything. I'm just.
Yeah. Oh, I would have anticipated it would be moving anyway. So
I would think so too.
sprinting.
So you're going to follow it to try and get to it when it drops.
Absolutely, I am.
Well, he's got major acrobatics, so he should be.
Okay, so it is dark. You've got to make your way through the bushes and possibly the trees to find it. So I'm going to say that just roll a
Is he
state
wearing the night vision goggles?
I am.
He is. So he'll be able to see a little bit, but he is in heavy brush. So I'm going to say roll a d20 and add your half of your perception to it to see how you do as far as finding the basket.
Oh, half of my perception. Okay, I have to go back to that because I changed it to acrobatics. There it is. My perception is +10.
So 5. Whatever you get plus 5, we'll see if you find the basket. 10. 15's enough. You hear a thump ahead of you as the basket hits the floor, and you're able to use the sound to hone in on exactly the direction you find the basket. And it is, because the ship is not stationary, it is beginning to be dragged at about 5 feet every 10 seconds ahead of you through the brush.
I'm running at speed.
Running at speed. Okay, you catch up to the basket. What do you want to do now?
Acrobatics leap into the basket.
Leap into the basket. You don't need to roll. I know you could make that.
Yeah, nice.
Yay.
Okay. You make it into the
Tug on the rope.
basket and you pull on the rope. You
Yep.
give it a tug.
Give it a
All
tug.
right. Okay. So as you tug on the rope, the sailors at the top, they immediately feel that tug, realizing, then there's some discussion between them whether or not they should raise it, because they can't tell if it's a tug because the thing is
Tug.
caught on something. So they tug back a little bit.
Yep.
And when you tug a rhythmic tug back,
Yep.
they realize it's you and they begin pulling it up at a very fast speed. And for you, although you may not be familiar in the 1890s with elevators, it's a stronger pull than elevators as this thing swings up out of the forest and you are just about flattened against the bottom of the wicker basket. And it feels a little nauseous as they pull this thing up and you're like, "Ooh," as it goes all the way up. But you are being raised in the basket.
Yay.
We're going to just skip over to Percy and Raven, because you guys are basically just waiting for that, and then I'll come back to you after them. Okay.
Meanwhile, on the sea, on the shore.
Meanwhile, back at the ranch.
So we found each other, and I think, yeah.
Yes, you found each other.
Okay, and yeah,
It's so sweet.
In the moonlight,
in the moonlight.
Nice.
Right.
the river behind us,
And,
lap, lap,
and I
lap.
whispered to him, "We've got to get
Hey,
to that
hey,
basket.
use your camera or use your microphone.
We've got to get to that basket as quickly as possible. I don't know where it is, but they're not going to stick around waiting for us forever."
Well,
Sure
I think
they will.
they will because they know where the torch is and they'll come find us, because we certainly can't find them.
Well, should we wave the torch?
I don't think
No.
we need to. I think we need to hide to make sure that no bad people come until the basket shows up.
All right. Well, I'll hide with you, and we'll use the bow and arrow to watch for them. I suggest that I set up.
Do you think I should set up Bridger's trap?
You can. I can also cast a spell. I can use
Oh,
my
wait, you
Wand
got
of
that.
Alarm.
The Wand of Alarm. Let's do that.
Okay. So I use my Wand of Alarm and I cast a 20-foot circle ahead by the water, between the torch and the water on the shore.
Okay.
Okay.
All right. You cast it.
And it's an audible
circle?
alarm that we can both hear.
All right.
The cans on a string.
Okay. Circling back to the girls on the ship, is there anything you guys are doing now as you're waiting while the sailors are pulling the basket up?
I would probably be making sure that we've got blankets for the guys because we know that they're going to be soaking wet, and yeah, that's all. Just making
And-
sure that we've got dry stuff. For
Yeah,
them.
and we're looking to see if we can see where these guys
Yeah,
are.
We're
and-
watching, but we're also I don't know,
Okay.
preparing for the reunion with our friends.
I do have a question for you. My messenger thing, can I only use that with Thaddeus, or can I use it with other people? I guess I could use it with other people as well, as long as I could see them.
I don't know. I mean, it really depends on your character. Hold on here. Let's see if we can find Lavinia Rose, and let's actually look at that messenger spell. So it'll be under your spells. It's called message, right?
Yeah, it's
Message?
message and it's in my
Message?
cantrips, and I could.
Okay, it says you mouth words quietly, but instead of coming out of your mouth, they're transferred directly to the ears of the target, while others can't hear your words any better than if you normally mouth them. The target can hear your words as if they were standing next to you. They can give a brief response as a reaction or as a free action on their next turn if they wish. But they must be able to see you and be within range to do so. So as Thaddeus has had your initial response, after that he's lost sight of you because of the position of the ship and because he's had to follow the basket and get to the basket. So you no longer have sight with him and are no longer able to
Yeah,
communicate.
I'm not even.
She's asking.
I'm
about
asking
these
about
guys.
these guys.
You do not have line of sight to them because they are hiding in the bush.
Okay.
Just a quick question. I can't remember. Does the giant captain speak Latin?
Yes, the giant captain does speak Latin.
And so do I.
Oh, okay. So, there we go. So Lavinia could have communicated with him. In
She
Latin.
doesn't speak Latin fluently, but she
Okay.
can understand Latin because of all the masses that she had to attend. She also does not read Latin fluently, but she can make out some of the words.
Okay.
So
But
that
once Thaddeus is on the airship, he'll be able to communicate with
yeah.
With
Now
Margaret, yeah.
she will be able to try some pidgin Latin as she tries to grope for the words herself because she doesn't speak it fluently. So she'll be able to make some information known if she can figure out the words to say it.
Okay. So probably a little bit better than our sign language of like.
Who knows?
Boink, boink,
I think our sign language.
I'm going to switch us to the big map because I want to focus in on where you guys are. You'll see I've got a little icon here now on the big map, and let me move it around on the big screen over here on the table, and we'll just focus in. This is where you currently are as far as your positioning and as far as the ship. You know this because just before you guys started your mission, Raven used his celestial navigation to establish exactly where you are. How's that for me metagaming back into the
Pretty nice.
pretty good, huh?
Because I didn't remember that.
Exactly. Anyways, so you know more or less based on the map that you have, you believe this is your approximate position on the map. Anything that you guys want to discuss about where you are and what your future plans are going to be once the mission is over?
Well, do we
What
want
did
to
you
go to
think?
rendezvous, or do we want to go back and assist the elven horde? Elves against the horde.
The elven host, the elven army, you would have to
Yeah.
travel back to the east to do that.
Yeah.
I would like to get rescued first.
Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly.
okay.
Work on that.
Like, I don't even want
No, but Dave, our game master was saying, like, while we're having this little break here,
Here's
like,
something for you guys to think about. So it should be on the screen behind me. This is more or less your location right now. All right. So think about that as you plan what's going to happen next. Now, it's not entirely up to you because you did make
A bargain.
a deal. You made a bargain with Marduk that after this, if he wanted assistance, you would give him assistance,
Yeah.
right?
So
Or
we
you
would
could
stick to that.
ask something of him and then you would owe him a favor. Those were generally the terms of what would happen after he picked you back up from the mission.
I think it's only fair we help
they've
him.
been
Absolutely.
nothing
They've
but
been
amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I
They've
think
been
it's
awesome.
fair that we assist them in whatever
Absolutely.
wise they require.
Absolutely. 100%.
Okay.
Little people to do the little things for you.
Yes, they need little people to get into little spaces and do little
Exactly.
things. Okay, so I'm just going to leave the map here like this because we're no longer focusing on the actual riverbank. As you are all waiting for the ship to finish its turn and come close to where the torch position is, anything else in this interim of, I'm going to say it's another 15 minutes because the ship has to pick up speed again and finish its complete turn to come about.
We make sure that we've got all of the blankets and all the different things that we need.
And we
we're
get
all-
him all dried off, and yeah,
Well,
I'm
gonna-
assuming we've got a little fire or
I'm
something
going to
going.
discuss
Or
with Raven about
No, there's that
whether or
fire
not we're
inside
just
the
going to
ship.
leave the treasure there.
yeah,
or
but
whether
we'll
we're going to
be.
try and rescue it. What do you think?
Well, I personally want the treasure.
Well, yeah,
But,
everyone wants the treasure. But
I think in the middle of the night with undead floating around,
we could come back here later. is
yeah,
what I'm
we
saying.
we should mark this on
Definitely
a
mark it.
map where it is,
Yeah, yeah.
and then come back.
Okay. Well, yeah, we're going to mark this on the map, and then we can fast travel back here.
Well, if we can fast travel back here. But yes, the point being is, I agree we should come back for the treasure.
Yes.
If it's there.
Yeah, before someone else gets it,
Well, yeah, somebody else is going to raid the treasure.
like the
I mean,
undead
at the
recovering.
very least, we could steal the aerolite crystals or the aerolite sphere
Cluster.
if it wasn't destroyed.
Clusters.
Yes.
Cluster. Yeah.
Okay, I do recall that we heard a. No, I didn't hear. That's metagaming. Never mind. Can't do that.
Okay, so right now in game, it has been overnight that you have been doing this mission, and you had to wait until it was 2 or 3 in the morning before you could approach the ship and pull up. Now that this amount of time has transpired and the ship has sunk, it's about 4:30 in the morning. Because of all of the sneaking that you've had to do and all of the stuff when the explosion went off, I'm going to say that it was about 4:15 a.m. that happened. So as it becomes 4:30 in the morning, and this is, we're still in the month of September, aren't we? What date did we have the game at?
Oh, I clicked out of it.
September the 27th was the last date that we put in for the game for when we were doing this, right?
Yeah.
Right. September the 27th. I'm going to go show everybody on the calendar if we got it. So this would be another day later. So I'm going to say it is the morning of the, no, we talked about it being this night, the night of September 27th. So now it is the morning of the 28th.
It's like
It is
5
4:30 in the morning, and it looks like because of the time of year that it is, you've just had is it the equinox?
Yeah, it's after the equinox.
It's just been after the equinox, which was the 21st, 22nd of September, correct?
Yeah.
I'm going to say the sun is not going to rise for another 2 hours, more like 6:30. It's going to start to get light in the east. So, yeah, I'm going to say more or less in about 2 hours. So you still have 2 hours of darkness while you wait for the ship to come to find you. Is there anything you want to do in the next 15 minutes while the ship comes back to the position where the
Well,
torch is.
really, we've got about an hour because it starts getting light out before the sun actually comes up.
Yes, and I'm
Trust
going
me,
to
I
say,
know.
I'm going to say that the end of September, the sun's going to start coming up. Well, I guess 7 o'clock. Would you say?
Well, yeah, probably about 6 or so, but it would get light. It gets light about an hour before that happens.
True.
Before the sun peaks up.
And
It starts
So you
getting light.
probably have, I'm going to say you have a half hour of darkness before pre-dawn
Yeah.
begins to illuminate the shoreline. That makes sense? That's what I was trying to go for all this
Yeah.
whole time. You have half an hour left before pre-dawn begins to illuminate the
My
shoreline.
time of day.
Okay?
Okay.
All right. So in that 15 minutes that you are waiting, we are going to roll the big die. We are going to find out when we roll the big die. This is a present from Rob for Christmas. We are going to find out if anything happens. Oh, I see we have a whole army of little guys here on the
You know,
table.
You should get Lavinia to roll, and she could go bowling.
There you go. Here, Pat.
No, let you do because I don't have.
You want me to?
access
Okay.
All right.
Okay.
All right.
I'll
Here we
just
go.
come
We're
behind
gonna
you
we're gonna go bowling for undead
Bowling
soldiers.
for undead soldiers.
Just don't break any.
Yeah.
Ready, set, go. Ah! And what's on top is a 3, which means that the soldiering undead, who are all knocked over now, do not make it to your side of the shore. You start to see just after 15 minutes, and I'm going to say the pre-dawn light is already starting. You think that you can see, barely make out now that you're getting your night vision back, some figures on the far shore, on the western shore, emerging from the water onto the shoreline.
Okay.
But that's all you can make out because it's a long ways away. All right.
So they're,
Oh, I don't know
they're
why.
going the opposite direction.
I had it on Lavinia that whole time because we were talking
No,
to her. Oh, you switched?
I
Okay.
switched it back. Yeah, I just I had to reposition her camera because
Oh, we knocked it.
I knocked it when I was bowling.
Okay. So
fun.
you do not end up having an encounter with a soldiering dead. That's what the big roll was about, to see if you would in fact have an encounter with a soldiering dead. But because it was a 3, you did not, which means that the basket, you very clearly can start to see it in the pre-dawn light being lowered down to you as the ship is slowing down and is going to come to rest directly above you.
Does Lavinia have line of sight to them yet?
As she's looking over, roll to see if you've got line of sight with perception. You do know where to look because there is a
Perception 12,
torch.
then you just roll your 20. Oh,
We're still hiding in the bush, though.
You're still hiding in the bush, but they know where to
But
look,
but you
and
guys
they're
saw the
looking it down at you
baskets.
from the top in pre-dawn light.
No.
So that's a no. Okay. So she's not able to make a message, but you begin to clearly see the basket as it is being lowered down, and you are waiting for it to get to land so that you can get into it. While you're waiting for it to land, you hear a shout from the western bank,
Uh-oh.
because clearly in the pre-dawn light, the silhouette of the ship to the east and the basket being lowered is obvious to whatever soldiering dead have emerged from the river on the western bank.
and they're on the eastern bank?
They are on the western bank, you are on the eastern bank.
Okay. So, and all of their weapons would have got wet, right?
All of their weapons would have got wet.
Okay.
So you hear a shout, but that's all you hear. Okay?
Yeah, and since they've mostly got gunpowder and not bow and arrow,
Yeah.
they're kind of useless.
And they couldn't even hit you with a bow at that distance. Even you couldn't hit them with a bow at that distance.
What is the distance?
I think we said that it was about 500 feet across.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
250 feet from the center where the riverboat was to either shore.
And I think basically the median range is 120
Something
for,
like
for
that.
bow and arrow.
Yeah.
And
And you
200
could shoot further than that for sure.
Yeah.
Both of you could, but you would have to do it with disadvantage. All right. So you hear a shout, but it doesn't look like they can do anything. The basket comes to rest in the bushes, probably about 25 feet from you. What would you like to do?
Let's go.
I agree.
Okay, so you head over to the basket.
Yep.
And are you climbing in?
I'm climbing in.
I am too.
Okay, you climb into the basket, and then
We
What do
tug
you
on
do?
the rope.
you tug on the
Tug
rope.
on the rope.
All right. In the pre-dawn light that's getting a little bit brighter all the time, the sailors can clearly see two little figures getting into the basket as they're looking down at the basket where they've lowered it. So they begin pulling you up right away. And just like Thaddeus, it's a bit of a lurching motion for you, and you are kind of half squashed to the bottom of the wicker basket while it is raised up to the ship. You hear more shouts from the western shoreline as you're being raised, and the light is getting a little bit better, just the way it does in the early dawn. It's amazing how easy it is to start to see things just minute by minute before the sun has even come up. So as the bright sky of the east is lighting up, you can clearly see the hull of the ship. As you are being raised, all of a sudden, you hear a shout come from the ship above you. And our alarm just went off for the people at home. That's why Thaddeus is laughing. As Percy and Thaddeus are being raised in the basket, they hear a shout from the deck of the sky ship above them. On the deck, I'm sorry, that was Percy and Raven. On the deck, Thaddeus, Josephine, and Lavinia are standing there when they hear one of the sailors on lookout near the front of the ship give a shout and point to the west, the northwest. He points, and suddenly everybody else on the ship turns and looks to where he is pointing. And in the pre-dawn light, everyone can very clearly see. Now this is a little bit lit a little bit better than what you can see, but everyone can clearly make out that there are more ships to the west of you
Are they
that are starting to approach, and these
Like airships?
are what they look like.
The Vanir.
Oh, oh.
The Vanir.
Oh dear. Okay.
Can you put it on the back as well?
Didn't it go on the back
Nope.
screen?
No.
Oh, I'm sorry. It was supposed to. I had set this whole thing up so that it would. Okay, so on the back screen, I suppose everybody at home should be able to see it. Let's go back to the back screen. Stop. So the light isn't quite as good as this, but what you see is not one, not two, not three, but an entire armada of black-hulled Viking longships.
13. Yeah.
13 of them. And there is immediately a ton of discussion and a lot of scrambling as Marduk, the captain, begins to shout orders. And the ship suddenly takes a veering turn, and instead of being pointed as it has been towards the west, right over the position where it is just picked up Percy and Thaddeus, the ship suddenly takes a veering lurch and a turn to the south, because that armada is coming from the northwest towards you. Now they're pretty far away, and they are not on a direct course towards you. They are actually going to be, it looks like they're more on an easterly course, that they're headed east. So the Anua ship, the Anua galley, immediately begins to try climbing up and swinging to the south to move away from them.
You're still dangling in a basket?
And Thaddeus, not Thaddeus, and Percy and Raven are still dangling from the basket. All of the sailors, except one, have left pulling up the basket and have gone to whatever their stations and duties are to re-rig the sails on the ship, and one sailor is left pulling the basket up slowly, and he is doing it haphazardly as he is very, very distracted by the armada of Aesir Viking longships that have been sighted on the northwest horizon.
How far away are they?
They're obviously much smaller than you see right here. I'm going to say that even from the basket, you look and you would estimate that they're probably at least a mile away, maybe a little more. They are closer to you than they would be if it had been full daylight. If it had been full daylight, you would have seen them much, much further away.
And veered away.
Now, because you are east of them and southeast of them, and the sun is going to rise behind you, the Anua Galleon that you are on is in full silhouette and sticks out in the early morning pre-dawn light like a flag on a shit pile, like a big sore thumb. It is very visible to them, and they have obviously been able to see you for at least 20 minutes, maybe more. So as Josephine and Lavinia and Thaddeus are watching, they can see this small armada of ships. Most of them seem to be continuing in the direction that they were going, but three closest to the front suddenly start to alter their course and bear straight for your position. And with that,
Hold on.
Oh.
Hi, Sugar. Thanks for
Hi, Sugar,
joining us.
Sugar.
We're just going to
Hi,
go on
Sugar,
break.
Sugar.
Sorry.
hey there. Hey, Sugar. Okay, with that, we're going to go and take our break. We're going to be back in probably about 15 minutes. It is 8:22 Mountain Standard Time, our time. So it's probably going to be 32. It's going to be more like 8:40 that we're going to be back. Okay, so 20 to 9. For those that are watching us live. For those that are watching the recording of this, you're going to just be able to skip through our little break that's going to be in the middle of this video that's been recorded live and catch up with us in 14, 15, 16 minutes, something like that, whatever it is. Okay, we'll see you then. Thanks, everybody, and we'll be back very soon.
Bye. Thank you.
Thank you.
And we are back. We made it. We just had our break. And we want to, before we do anything else, we want to thank Mr. Raven Alexium. Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hooray.
Tasty
Because
cookies.
he brought us ginger snap cookies this time. And oh my God, they're good.
He just made
They're
them this
really
afternoon.
good. They're soft and chewy. I don't like ginger snap cookies that are too hard. These are just right. You just made them this afternoon?
That's right.
Julio.
Live better by alchemy.
That's right. The saying is, what is it? Improved Oh, I can't remember. There was an old World of Warcraft saying that was something like that. Improved living through chemistry, something like that. All right. So we are going to pick up where we left off on our little cliffhanger in a moment. But first, we had a little discussion over the break about minis. What's that?
No introduction.
Yeah, we won't
right,
do introduction because
we don't
we just came back from a break. If you want to see who we are and what we're doing, just go to the front of this. If you're just joining us now, go to the front, and later on of the recording, you'll see our introductions of who we are. But we're going to go and have a little bit of discussion right now because, as most people know, Thaddeus paints our miniatures and does an amazing job. Yes. And also one of our viewers, a friend of Amanda's, his name is his name in chat here is the Pink Captain. Hey, and he's also called Silva, right? That's what you call him?
His that's what I call him, is Brother Silva.
Brother Silva. All right. Anyways, he paints minis. So you guys have something to talk about, right?
Yeah. So my friend, the Pink Captain, or Brother Silva, asked Josephine, ask Ian what mini. Oh, first of all, he had messaged just a little bit previously that he would love to have a mini exchange with Ian, and I showed the message to Ian, and Ian goes, "Yes,
That would be so cool.
Yes, that'd be so cool." And then
You like that idea? Ian?
I love it.
Yeah.
And then he
And
said,
I am very, very flattered.
"Yeah,
Because I've been seen pictures of his work as well. I think you showed me some pictures, and I'm very, very flattered. And thank you.
Yes, and so the Pink Captain says, Josephine, ask Ian what mini he would like. I have an assortment of D&D minis. Does he want a rogue, or would he just like a random mini? And what is his favorite color? Well, I can tell you. Well, actually, why don't I pass this over to Ian?
Favorite color is purple. Always has been. It's also the company colors. Yellow and purple are my company colors. As far as what mini I would like, I'd really like to be surprised.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want to know what's coming, so I think
So a couple of surprise minis. Why don't you guys surprise each other?
Okay,
But
if he wants something particular, I'm happy to do that as well.
yeah, and then I'll just grab your both of your information off of camera and off of the chat here, and send it to each other. And what a fun idea, you guys!
I'm very
That's
excited
That's
about this.
exciting.
It is. That's an awesome idea.
Yay.
So yes. So Thaddeus's favorite color is purple. Thaddeus, where is your cup that you roll your dice in? Do you have it with you? Why don't you show everybody? What a coincidence! His cup, he rolls his dice. What about your dice tray? Yeah, look at this. What a surprise! Look at that. Sure enough.
Although I would say
And
it's
even
more
your
of a book.
dice here. Pass me one of your dice. Look at this. Even his dice that Thaddeus rolls. I'll see if we can get the color.
Oh, yeah,
gold
yeah,
and
yeah.
purple. Look at that.
Look at that beautiful purple.
So this guy rolls D&D in style.
Yes,
Yes,
He does.
He is a
everything
dapper
he
D&D-er.
does.
He does, and he made that suit that he's wearing too, just in case anybody's wondering.
And he made
And he made Lavinia's dress, her beautiful dress. Okay, so that's our plan for the minis. That sounds fun. Now, we just finished, before the break, our last cliffhanger was that
Basket hanger, pardon me.
Percy and Raven are still stuck in the basket.
basket hanger.
Basket hanger. Yeah, it's instead of a cliffhanger, it's a basket hanger. That's good. Yeah. Percy and Raven are stuck in the basket. The basket is currently halfway between the ground and the ship. The ship is beginning to try and veer to the south, the giant sky galleon. This is a sky galleon that is owned and crewed by the Anua giants, who are these jet black ebony sky giants. And so that basket is beginning to sway back and forth fairly violently as the ship begins to swing around and try and gain speed as quick as it can. You can see about a mile to the northeast that there are 3 of the ships of the Aesir Viking raiding armada that have broken off, and they've started to approach you. And for the guys swinging in the basket, it's a bit of a ride. For Josephine, Lavinia, and Thaddeus that are up on the deck, Marduk has been swiftly shouting some orders, and now he comes up and speaks very quickly in Latin to Thaddeus. He's got a big spyglass in his hand, and he is sighting the 3 ships that are breaking off from the armada as his own ship turns to head southward in escape. So as he's looking, he begins to speak without looking offhandedly to Thaddeus to give the 3 of you some information. And what he says, what Thaddeus hears when he speaks quickly in his Latin with a very strange Anua accent, is that he says, looking at him, he says, there are too many for us to face in battle. And if we were to even try and join the 3 that have broken off to pursue, it would be an even thing. We are much more powerful than any one Viking, Aesir Viking longboat. But facing a pack like this is the way they often raid, is in packs. And we cannot face all of them just a lone ship like us. We will be easy pickings out here in the sky alone. So our only choice right now is to try and run ahead of them. He looks up from his spyglass and holds up a hand into the air and sniffs the breeze, looks at where the sun is, and says, we are in luck that the wind is coming right now from the northeast. So that should help us. If the wind had been coming with the south and blowing against us, it would have slowed us and it would have slowed them. Now we will try and harness all the wind that we can, at least to put some distance between us and the overall armada. And then we'll see what happens. You have a question?
Well, can you ask the captain if we can get a few more guys pulling up this basket, because our friends are...
I was going to say,
Okay.
we should join in and try to haul them up.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, you've got that strength thingamajiggy, right?
Oh, yeah, you're wearing the strength belt.
Yes, you are.
Oh,
I,
okay.
That's
Right.
true. You're wearing Lavinia's strength belt. She loaned it to you, right?
That's right. She did. Thank you.
Okay, so you go to the railing to try and help.
I'm going to the railing to...
And we'll all come and help too.
Okay, as the ship continues to veer to the south, and now it is directly on a southerly heading, the basket is swinging, but it's now 2/3 of its way up to the ship, swinging wildly. Behind you, because the big sky galleon and the sky galleon that's owned by the Anua sky giants is called the Mynnior. These longboats, these flying Viking longboats that are manned by the Aesir Vikings, they have got an advantage in speed over you that's pretty obvious, because you had to maneuver to turn in the Mynnior. So they are closing distance right now as you complete your turn and head to the south. As that happens, you can hear, carried over the wind, some shouts and some howls from the 3 Viking ships that are closing distance. And by the time you get up to speed, heading southwards, they have closed another 1/3 of a mile, and they are 2/3 of a mile behind you. They have got full speed, whereas you are still slowly getting up to speed. They're going to close some more of that distance before it equals out, and you're both traveling at whatever speed both ships are able. Well, they're 3 ships, and your 1 ship are able to maintain. As you pull up, Percy and Raven, I'm going to get you guys to roll Fortitude. Percy and Raven, roll Fortitude.
You might want to take your plate out of your rolling tray.
Yeah, put your rolling tray on your keyboard, Rob. So that you-
19 total.
So Raven rolls a 19, and he is able to maintain his constitution, and he does not get airsick.
I rolled a 19 as well, total.
So Percy and Raven get knocked around quite a bit in the basket, but neither one of them becomes ill from the turbulence as the basket is pulled up. And I'm going to find out, where is my die? Here we go. Let's do my die, and find out with an 11. The basket comes up to the side of the ship and gets helped over by the one Anua sailor and assisted by Thaddeus and the girls. And Raven and Percy are able to climb on board.
Well, that was a harrowing journey, my goodness.
Reunited and it feels so good. Sorry.
And Thaddeus says in Latin to the guy who's being helped.
Okay.
Go do what you need to do.
Okay, and so that sailor sprints off to some of the rigging that he's got to try and spill some more sail if he can do it. Yeah.
Just a curiosity. I can't remember from our previous discussions. Do these ships have firearms against each other?
Good question. So, how are these ships set for things that you would imagine while you were on tour and you were taken to the deck that's just below the top deck?
Yeah, they had
You saw some strange looking contraptions there called lightning cannons. Do you remember that? Did we
Yes.
show that image?
We did at
Yeah,
one
yeah.
point.
I remember seeing cannons.
I am wondering if I've still got them and I can show them to you real quick like.
And would the Vikings also have similar weapons?
So far you haven't seen what the Vikings would have. Here is
I'm sure.
one of the
I'm sure that they could tell us.
images of one of the
Cool.
lightning cannons that the Anua are readying. And as Percy and Raven are being pulled up the side of the ship, there were ports opening on the hull. And these things were being rolled out. And it looks like there are 4 per side along the sides of the Sky Galleon.
Gunnels.
And these are being opened and being ready to fire on the ship. They must fire some type of electrical charge, because when you were down there, you didn't see anything like you would expect, such as a pile of cannonballs or any other kind of traditional things you'd be used to with gunpowder. They only had these strange golden cannon-looking things that were sitting there, each ready to roll forward with a portal door on the hull of the ship that could swing open, and those are all open now. So there are 4 on each side, a total of 4 on each side.
Now they're movable, so could they go off the front or the back of the ship as well?
They're very heavy, and they'll only roll on the sides.
Oh, okay.
It does not appear that there are any on the front of the ship or the back of the ship, only along the sides. So if they need to fire, they would need to turn sideways to do so.
Gotcha.
And that would expose side to counterattack.
I ask in Latin to one of the Nua crafts or mates there, what is the distance of these projectiles?
He looks off into the distance, looks back to you, and says they can usually fire about 300 to 400 feet.
And does our enemy have the same distance constraint?
He looks at you and smiles and says, it depends on the weather, and it depends on what they're going to throw at us. They do not have the same types of lightning cannons that we do. This is not a technology that they have. And frankly, we do not fully understand these. These are artifacts that we have taken from some of our cities that used to be mounted on the walls of our cities. We've taken a few of those to arm some of our strongest ships. And that's where these ones have come from. We are able to operate them, and we are able to do minimal maintenance on them. But other than that, we don't actually know exactly how they work. As far as the Aesir Vikings go, they're going to be throwing rocks or spears at us. Big rocks or spears. They mount catapults
A ballista.
or ballistas
Yeah.
on the fronts of their ships. Generally, they do not fire broadside the way we do. Generally, as they're hunting in packs, they have these things mounted so that they're firing forward from the ship, not or backwards from the ship, but not side to side the way we do.
And their ships are as vulnerable to fire as yours?
He says, yes, their ships are as vulnerable to fire as ours. So the things that they throw at us will be lit before they come through the air. And one of the things that you've noticed during this preparation for battle is that suddenly there are buckets and barrels of water appearing everywhere. Stuff that has been stowed away, stuff that you didn't really notice before, were built into all of the railings were these bins, and the tops of the bins are flipped backwards, and you can very, very easily see there are giant barrels in all of these bins that are built into the railings up and down all along the entire sides of the ship.
I'm going to be pretty useless, except for flaming arrows. Maybe.
Yeah, I think we should
Yeah.
prep some flaming arrows.
Flaming arrows, yeah. And like these guys can probably like blast stones as they come.
Yeah.
If they come, yeah.
Well, he's got the fireballs and the. You know,
And Lavinia has
I have
things.
no fire types of things, but I'm
Oh,
sure
well.
I can figure something out.
Do we have any Molotov cocktails left over?
I think we only used a couple of them, and you gave us 5.
Well, I saw 6 fires.
You had 4 alchemists' fires. I
Yeah.
don't know how many of them you used.
I can't
I
remember.
don't think we used any of the Molotovs.
Yeah, you did.
I used
You did a
one.
couple.
I know I used one because I lit the match with my teeth and threw the Molotov cocktail over my shoulder. You know.
So you could walk away from the explosion.
Yeah. Well,
Like
I was
all
in the, I
heroes
was in
do.
the basket, but
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, so the sailor that Raven is speaking to stops to talk to him a little bit more and says to him, but they'll be careful with their projectiles because their goal is not going to be to destroy this ship. Their goal will be to try and capture it. They are after our aerolite engine and even our lightning cannons. If they could perhaps claim them, they would. That's what they will be after. They will try, more than firing their catapults or ballistas, they will try to catch us with a ballista that is firing a grappling hooks. And those will be what they will try and close distance with us, stop and slow us. So they will be aiming, if they are going to fire any type of catapults or ballistas, they are going to be aiming for our main mast, and they will not be lighting them on fire the way they would be if they were going to try and fight to destroy the ship. And they will be trying to slow us down so that they can get close enough to fire grappling hooks, close with us, and board us.
What are their vulnerabilities?
What are their vulnerabilities? He says, well, their vulnerabilities are similar to ours. While they do not have to worry while they have to worry about setting fire to our ship, we don't have to worry about that with their ship. So we have a great advantage with our lightning cannons, which are very powerful. And if we can hit them broadside enough with our lightning cannons, at the very least, it could slow them down. It might even destroy their ship or start fires on their ship. However, like us, they will have preparations there. The other problem that we are going to have is that they do not have to completely close with us before they will take to the air to finish the distance to board us. And you will see what I mean when they get close enough. He says, look here. And he pulls a little spyglass out of his pocket and he gives it to Raven. And he says, have a look. He says, do you see the white cloaks that they are wearing? And as Raven looks through the spyglass and they are getting closer and closer, you can see of the few Viking Aesir warriors at the bow of the ship, without exception, every one of them is wearing a large white fur cloak. And the sailor that's talking to you, who doesn't have a name, should we give him a name? We should be giving this guy a name, right?
Sailor boy.
No, we have to give him a good name. Let's magically make up a name for him, because we're just...
You could call him Marion Aerra.
I was going to say Guelph, like Guelph, Ontario. It's just like a cool...
That's Marion.
His name is Ozab.
Ozab.
Ozab. So Ozab, who's been talking with Raven and instructing him, points out that these Vikings, without exception, every one of them was wearing a great big long white heavily furred cloak. And he says to him, those are the hides of windwolves.
Right.
And they have magical properties so that if they can get close enough, they can get across to our ship just using the power of their cloaks to fly across.
Kind of levitation or
A little bit of levitation. It will
gliding or
not keep them, aloft the same way it would keep a wind wolf aloft, but it will keep them aloft long enough or protect them should they fall, so that it won't be necessarily a fall to the death unless they're wounded or hit.
You know, that would
something
be
like
super
that.
heavy if we could actually just jump off the ship if we needed to.
They
not
hunt
fall.
wind wolves?
Yes.
Oh yeah, the Aesir Vikings, that is their two main things that they do is they raid Anua cities for whatever Anua artifact technology they can get, plus supplies, plus slaves. They raid all of the other races for slaves, and they hunt windwolves for those cloaks that are huge status symbols in their culture. And it is a rite of passage. You are not an Aesir Viking unless you are wearing a windwolf cloak of a windwolf that you have hunted and killed yourself.
Wow.
I have a silly question. When we killed that skeleton in the desert, did we take his windwolf cloak?
He did not have one.
Oh, okay. Because I remember with the winged buffaloes, and I
Yeah.
remember we didn't actually kill any windwolves, did we?
No.
No.
You haven't even
haven't-
seen any.
yeah, we
No,
haven't
I don't
encountered
think we
them.
want to kill any wind wolves. I
Well, no.
believe
Yeah,
that they
Bear
would
would
be
have something to say
allies.
about that.
Yeah, so first, of course, yes, Bear. But also, I believe that they would be allies with us with having a common enemy.
Yeah. If we could talk to them. I
Yes.
mean, I have B-Speak. You have
and-
B-Speak.
Well, you can talk to Bear, and Bear can talk to them.
Yeah.
I'm sure.
I can't remember. Do you have B-Speak or is it
No,
just
I've
me?
got like an understand or some sort of animal thing.
Okay.
I don't know.
I think
Some
it's-
sort of
I think
animal
it's tame
thing.
animal.
I
Yeah.
definitely I have tame animal,
Tame
which
animal.
I've already used on Bear, so I don't think I can tame one animal at the
I
same
can
time.
communicate with him,
Or
but yeah.
No, you can only bond with one animal
bond
at a
with one,
time.
yes.
Right.
Which
Okay.
I'm completely bonded and like, yes.
So Ozab explains to Raven that it's a rite of passage for an Aesir warrior to hunt and kill a windwolf to claim his own cloak from it as the windwolf's hide. But they cannot venture into the home territory in the north of the Great Northern Forest, because that's where the windwolves live. The windwolves are the children. We're going to go to the map. The map.
On the map.
Let me go and get this. If you look at the map, to give you an understanding what's going on with these guys, is that north of the Great Northern Forest,
Oh, there.
We should
Wind wolves. It even
probably-
says so. Amarok.
it is the territory of Amarok, who is the mother or father of all the wind wolves. They are the children of Amarok. Amarok is a great wolven god. Okay. And not a humanoid, pure wolf-shaped god. There are people that live in the territory of Amarok, all right, called the wolf people, and they live in peace with the wind wolves. The wind wolves, however, do have a season of hunting, and they hunt in the south, and they travel and fly. The wind wolves are called wind wolves because they can basically run on the wind. They travel during the winter months when the large sweeping storms come south across the Great Northern Forest and down into the plains in the wintertime. The wind wolves come with those storm fronts to hunt bison and buffalo on the plains in the wintertime. When that happens, the Aesir Vikings come from the west, and they hunt the wind wolves that are hunting the bison. This is their only opportunity to claim wind wolf hides, because they do not dare try and travel past Wildermage and up into Amarok's territory. If they were to do that, Amarok herself may come to confront them. So they wait until the wind wolves are at their most vulnerable when they are hunting far from home on the plains of the Fallen. And this is where they hunt them. And this happens in the wintertime during the worst of the winter snowstorms.
Okay.
That is part of Aesir Viking culture and exactly how it works. So you guys right now are down here, and Ozab says that most likely and always they will hunt in a pack of 13 ships. Most likely, the reason that the Aesir are raiding right now is because, where's the picture that we were talking about before? The reason the Aesir are raiding right now is that they are looking as a pack for, no, that's not the right one. Sorry. There we go. They're looking as a pack for one of the drifting cloud cities to raid. And it is just a target of opportunity. That's what we are right now, that they have stumbled across us. So the rest of them are continuing on their track looking for one of the drifting cities, but these three are going to try and chase us down if they can in the meantime, because they think with three of them they can take us. Now they might be in for a little bit of surprise because they do not know that we have lightning cannons. Not all of the Sky Galleons have lightning cannons. They do not know this is Marduk's ship. And Marduk is one of the most powerful of all of the captains in the Anua. They have no idea that he has been able to trade and acquire 8 lightning cannons for his ship. So if they're lucky, one of their ships will survive this encounter. We don't want to risk it, though, because what if we lose our main mast? What if they get a lucky shot off? For them, maybe perhaps unlucky, and for us even more unlucky, and they hit the hull of our ship and they damage us and we go down. Marduk does not want to risk that. It's bad for his business.
Of course.
He doesn't want to lose his sky cannons, but if they get close enough, he will swing broadside and he will fire upon them. As he is explaining this to you, you see all of a sudden the arm, this wooden arm, all of a sudden lash forward from the deck of the foremost of the Viking ships, and a small projectile comes swinging out over the air towards your ship, only to fall harmlessly short. And it's clearly some kind of rock that they've tried to throw as a shot to gauge how far away from you they are.
How far away are they now?
Lavinia, can you shield against anything?
They are closing distance, and they are going to be half a mile away from you now, as you've been discussing this.
Railing and
So
pursuing
2,800 feet,
shield. No?
2,800 feet is half a mile?
more or less.
Okay, I'll go with that. They're currently half a mile away from you. They've thrown a rock, and that rock is only fallen half the distance from you. So they know that they are halfway to you being in range, and that they can throw these rocks about a quarter of a mile, which is quite a bit.
Now, sorry, did you say, do the ships travel at the same speed?
Their ship was at full speed as it was approaching you because they could see you against the horizon.
And because we were turning.
And you were
slowed
turning
down.
and you were slower. You are slowly getting up to speed, but they are going to close probably. Ozab estimates that there's a chance that they could actually close within distance to hit you.
Are they the
So-
same size as
No.
these?
They are not. Your galleon is a 3-deck ship. There's a mid deck, just like the riverboat that you're on. There's a lower deck there that's got all of your supplies. There's a mid deck that's the gunnery deck that has some supplies, but it has also the lightning cannons on it. And then there's the upper main deck of this galleon. It also has many more sails. So when it comes to full speed, it's heavier, but it has more sails to compensate, and it can probably go at least as fast as they can. They are smaller, they're lighter, but they have less sail, and they've only got 2 decks. There's the main deck, and then there's the hold. Yeah. Along the sides of their ship, they have the traditional giant Viking shields as protection, but mounted onto their deck, every one of them has a forward-facing ballista or catapult or both.
Are they also giants?
Yes, they are the same size. Oh, and Ozab answers all of your questions about this. They are the same size as the Anua, more or less, give or take a foot or 2 feet. They tend to be more heavily muscled than the Anua as Viking warriors. Their hair is very often jet snow white. And that is considered a sign of prestige in their culture. If you are a young Aesir Viking and you have darker hair, well, you're not considered yet a fully mature warrior until you mature to the point where your hair is jet white. And their skin is extremely pale. Almost all of them are bearded and look like what we would consider the traditional Vikings that we understand from our own world. And of course, they follow Norse mythology. They are a warrior culture. So to them, many of the Norse legends, their version of the Norse legend, many of them are true. Norse legends about Loki, about Odin, about Thor, about Ragnarok, about all of the things that are involved in Norse mythology. To them are real, as real beings that live in this world.
Cool.
So, other questions?
So when it comes down to actual battle, can we get, what strategies should we implement as smaller people for you? How can we help the battle?
Ozab looks at you and says, well, first of all I can suggest to you is that you're going to have to decide if the worst happens and we are caught and boarded by them and the battle goes against us, the battle tide, which if all 3 ships survive and all three of their ships board us, that will overwhelm us as far as numbers, our sailors versus the Vikings. If that happens, they will attempt to take several of us as slaves, and the rest they will execute or pitch overboard. You, they would look at as excellent slave material. If you wish to fight with us, to fight them, which is your choice, the best I can offer is if you've got firearms or if you've got fire, fight them with fire. That's the best thing that I can offer. The other thing is you can wait. If they do get close enough to us that they decide that they're going to try and cross the distance using their wind cloaks, they'll be at their most vulnerable at that time.
Yeah, no. My thinking is if we manage to capture 1 or 2 of them, we could shred those wind cloaks and turn them into parachutes for the rest of us, so that we could escape.
Do we have anything to help make the ship go faster?
That's
Our
what I'm
ship.
wondering about. If we still had the wind elemental.
I also have
Yes.
the Trident of Lightning.
I don't think that'll improve the speed.
No, it won't improve the speed, but as a last resort, if they start boarding us, I've got
Yeah,
the trident
yeah.
in that.
And you don't have any shield spells, do you? That you can
No,
knock down the boulders with or anything?
No, I don't have anything like that.
Now, Lavinia,
Yes.
if they do start flying towards us, then you could use like shatter or whatever. Like, no?
It has to be prepared.
Oh.
Actually, with none of my things have to be prepared. I mean, it has to be in my list.
In the morning, you have to prepare your spells that you
Yeah.
want to use that day.
Yeah.
You can't just go to your list and
No.
randomly pick them.
But if I've already got them in my current list, I can use them.
That's true, yes. But you can't change them once they run that list
Right,
until the
of
next
course,
morning. Yeah. I'm the same.
So whatever you've got now is what you've got.
But I have nothing that is shatter.
Or, yeah, like,
Or an offensive spell that could attack or destroy things?
I mean,
Set
we've
things
got
on
magic
fire?
missile that
but magic missile is not necessarily for a vehicle. It would be more for individuals, right?
And what kind of cantrips do you have?
You have needle darts.
Yeah, just a sec. I'm thinking, like, if these guys start flying through the air at
Yeah, we
us,
should establish what we're going to do right away.
like, obviously I've got pew-pews and, like, you got arrows.
I've got
Okay,
arrows
yeah.
and I've got my Del Rosso shotgun. But it's only got a 15-foot range, so
Yes, Lavinia.
I will now
it should be
answer.
150 foot, shouldn't it? Sorry.
Rob, would you like me to answer your question?
Sorry, dear.
I have shield, I have light, I have message, vitality lash, chill touch, needle darts, and disrupt undead. None of which are particularly useful in this certain situation.
I'm sure you'll figure something out.
I'm sure it will.
Yeah.
Okay, Ozab leaves you with one more thing as far as encountering them, and he says, but I would not go toe to toe with them. Don't try in that. They're just going to smash you. Make sure that if that's the case and you are face to face with them, avoid, because they're going to just squash you. They are so much bigger than you and so much more powerful, stronger even than most of us as sailors. They're certainly not as strong as Marduk, but the rest of us, they would probably have a little more strength than we do. So we will be using our skill to counter them, but at your size, their arms are longer than you are. They're going to be able to squash you like bugs if you try and go toe to toe with them. So don't do that.
If we are made to be invisible by our wonderful wizard, will they be able to see beyond that? Will they see us if we are?
Ozab's eyebrows go up in surprise at the mention of invincibility, which you're translating through Raven or Thaddeus to ask these questions. Ozab's eyebrows go up and he's like, they have very little magic. They have some magic, but it's very crude. They're not going to be able to detect you unless they stumble over you somehow.
Okay.
That makes me think that they could be prone to sabotage. If someone were to sneak over and sabotage their vessel.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. If they have a grappling hook
Right.
attached to our ship,
And we being
Go across.
small, we could just sneak past them with the
crawl
invisibility
across the
shield
rope,
and
light their ship on fire.
Yeah, light their ship on fire or disable their engine or something. You know,
So we can die with the ship as it goes down.
we can steal their cloaks and drift.
Oh,
down.
okay. So we're going to steal
We
a
can
30-foot
steal
tall
their
giant's
aerolite.
cloak.
They're not 30 feet tall. They're 28.
Oh, okay.
They're around 16 feet tall,
There you go.
and those cloaks probably weigh a little more than you do.
Okay.
So they're going to be extremely
Just a
heavy and
little
hard for
tuft
you
of
to
hair.
move
Tuft of
or
hair.
manipulate.
Just wave it about, you know.
Well,
it
if,
like a
if
Morris
everyone
dancer.
grabs onto one and then we just all like, wee,
Like a
parachute to the
parachute.
ground.
One
What about bear?
of those Windwolf cloaks is probably a king size bed and a couple of feet wider than that, and 2 times the length of a king size
Imagine
bed.
sleeping in a king size bed with one of these wind wolf cloaks on it.
It's that massive, right? Because these guys are 16 feet tall, which means that these cloaks generally drop somewhere between 14 and 15 feet in length. And across the shoulders, these cloaks are a good solid 4 feet, at least, maybe 5, that are going across their shoulders. So and then they wrap around their body, because of course wind wolves are much bigger, much bigger than even bear is. All right, wind wolves are 3 times the size of bear, because the wind wolves are the children of a god. They are each of them demigods, children of the god Amarok, who is a primal wolf god.
Like Freya.
Yes. As you've been discussing this, and Ozab has been telling you this, they have still been closing distance with you, and all 3 of their ships are now pointed towards you and abreast, and they are beginning to hurl objects. They are not firing any ballistas. They are simply throwing stones to gauge distance, and they don't look like very big stones to you. So obviously a bigger stone is not going to clear as much distance as the stones that they are throwing. They're clearly trying to gauge distance to your ship, and also prepare their catapults to aim to try and hit the main mast. As you're watching, and they are closing, and it's like this race of nerves. It's a slow race as they slowly get closer, and they slowly get closer, and you continue to gain speed, and you continue to gain speed. A couple of the side ships do throw small fiery rocks. It looks like they don't want to set a big blaze, or they don't want to do a lot of damage, but they want to keep your crew busy putting out deck fires if they can. These rocks are the size of your head, and they have come further than anything else they've thrown, and they are still just falling short of the ship, the back railing of the ship, only by a dozen feet or less.
How far away are they now?
They have now closed distance, and they are less than a third of a mile away.
So 500 feet?
Something like that. I'm going to say 400 feet. Ooh, and there's the ringer, dinger, dingling, dinger. It is 9:21. We're going to wrap it up in the next 10 minutes. We are not going past 9:30 tonight.
Okay. Thank you. I go to the back of the ship, and I pull my drain bond item, and I cast my last level 3 spell. I'm going to cast Fireball at the leading ship.
Okay.
And there's a distance of 500 feet.
And the ship, I'm going to say, is 400 or less feet, so you are going to be able to hit it with your fireball.
Okay, that's 66.
So do they need to roll? It's a ship that you're hitting, so I am going to say a ship does not have any type of reflex save or anything like that. It is a static object. So what you fire is going to hit it with however much damage you do. I guess what I will do is I will roll to see if it crits.
Okay, and I'm trying to hit the mast.
Okay, I'm going to roll to see if your damage crits or is normal damage. I'm going to say it cannot fail, because that is, like you, a light beam ship. It's going to catch fire for sure. It's going to take the impact. You can't miss it at this distance unless you, I don't know. I'm going to just say it happens for sure. Crit is going to be 15 or higher. Make sense?
Yeah.
And it is a 15. Holy shit.
Oh dear God.
Yes.
It's a 15.
Well,
There it
not a
is.
very good roll.
1, 5,
12, 13, 15, 19.
19. Doubled.
Doubled.
Times 2.
So 38.
Nice.
So you hit the front of their ship with 38 points of damage.
That's the closest I could get. I was trying for the mast.
Oh, you hit, you know what? We're going to get you to roll for attack, and that will say whether you hit the deck or the mast.
Okay. And do you want me to use my attack bonus?
Yeah, you can use your attack bonus and everything.
Okay. So spell casting. I have a plus 12. I rolled an 11 plus 12 is 23.
I'm going to say that's enough to hit the mast. Your blast hits the mast. Your fireball hits the mast. The mast catches fire, and so does the sail. And you're shooting at the center ship of the three, I assume?
The one that's closest to
The
us.
center ship of the three, suddenly, with its sail on fire and its mast on fire, all of the Viking warriors that on it are rushing around to try and put out the fire that's dropping onto the deck. But the sail and the mast are going to be very quickly consumed, especially the light beam mast, and is going to topple over, and that ship starts to fall drastically behind because its speed is reduced to 0 just within 100 feet. You are left with 2 ships.
Yes.
You are left with 2 ships approaching you, seeing that this has happened. They don't seem to have any other counter for it. You can hear them shouting back and forth between them. On the leftmost ship, all of a sudden a figure appears right at the prow of the ship, right at the front, and he's holding he's got a white cloak on, billowing in the wind as you're used to, but he's got a slightly different tunic than many of the others. It's a very kind of red tunic, and he's holding a long staff. And as he holds up the long staff, you can hear him chanting into the wind.
Oops. Can we take a shot at him?
He points his staff at you, and I guess we'll find out next week what happened.
Oh. Tune in next time to see if they survive the blast of the mighty giant Viking.
We'll find out what this Viking, you're pretty sure he's a shaman of some type, what he's casting. That's what you're going to find out next week.
But he's still 400 feet away, though.
But he's 400 feet away. So we're going to see how his magic stacks up against Raven's magic. All right, folks, thanks very much for coming out to play with us tonight.
What a great night.
Oh,
Thank
that
you
was
so
great.
much.
Glad
Thank
you
you.
guys enjoyed
Thank
it.
you.
It's a
Thanks,
lot of
Pete.
story time tonight, but that's okay. You learned
We
a bunch of
live
things
for
you
your
might not
stories.
have known before.
Details, man. That's
Thank
good.
you.
Any other questions before we go?
Thank you to Pete.
Comments?
Thank you to Sugarberries, and thank you to the Pink Captain for joining us tonight. Anybody
you
else
so
who
much.
joined us too who didn't comment, we appreciate.
We really appreciate
And nobody
you.
said anything about my haircut.
Oh,
Well, I noticed.
We didn't know that
you
it
were
was
wearing a
gone.
hat the entire
You're wearing a
time.
hat, buddy.
I was wearing a hat. That's true. See, look,
Look at that. There
I'm
you
all
go.
tight.
Oh, you're losing feathers.
I am losing feathers. I will get them later.
Get
Okay.
plucked.
All right. Thanks, everybody. Everyone
Thank
have a
you.
good night. We are going to be back next week. Good for everybody?
Yep.
Yep.
We will be back next Wednesday night.
Woohoo!
That is going to be March the whatever the ever is. It's going to be April the
It's
April
2nd.
April 2nd.
April 2nd.
April 2, be here. We are going to find out what happens in the showdown between the Aesir Vikings and the Wylders aboard the Sky Galleon Mynnior. Bye-bye.
Bye for now.
Bye.
Bye.